Welcome to the Standardized Recipes Training Module, presented by the Maine Department of Education Child Nutrition Programs. In this presentation, we will go over what a standardized recipe is, why they are required, the benefits of standardized recipes, and what is required in a standardized recipe. Before we can dive into the details of a standardized recipe, we must first know what it is. The USDA definition of a standardized recipe is a recipe that has been tried, adapted, and retried several times for use by a given food service operation and has been found to produce the same good results and yield every time when the exact procedures are used with the same type of equipment and the same quantity and quality of ingredients. A few myths about standardized recipes is that they lack creativity, that they are of lower quality. A lot of people believe that they cannot convert their own recipes to a standardized recipe, and some people feel as though they cannot make substitutions. Hopefully by the end of this presentation, you will know that none of these are true. There are a lot of benefits to having standardized recipes. They provide you with consistency, quality control, cost control. They give you confidence in your meal crediting. It helps to simplify your record keeping, and it provides your employees with confidence, knowing that if they use the same recipe every time, they're going to get the same great result that the kids love. Knowing how your recipes credit ensure that the meal pattern is being met with a recipe that is reliable and your students enjoy. They also provide you essential information for an audit or an administrative review. There are three parts to standardizing a recipe for your operation. First, there's recipe verification. This involves reviewing the recipe, preparing it, and verifying the yield and recording any changes. Second, there's product evaluation. This focuses on determining the acceptability of the product produced. This is where your staff will make portions of this recipe and provide it to your students for taste testing. Finally, there's quantity adjustment. This involves changing the recipe yield and ingredient amounts accordingly, or scaling your recipe. Using already standardized recipes like USDA or healthy school meals will likely involve less time and energy in scaling. Recipes brought from home or from magazines will likely take a little bit more time to adjust and standardize. Now let's go over the components of a standardized recipe, or the recipe for a recipe. First, your recipe must contain the yield or number of servings that the recipe will produce. You will need to have your serving size, how it contributes to the meal pattern, your ingredients written in measurable terms, and then clear directions for completing the recipe. Now here is an example of a standardized recipe. You can see that it has all of the components we just discussed. It has the yield. It states that it provides 50 servings. It has all of its ingredients listed out. It also has the option of the ingredients being listed by weight or measure. This is important because things like grains, such as flour, are credited by weight. And then you have items like strawberries, or any other fruits and vegetables that are credited by volume. And this recipe offers you the opportunity to list the ingredients in both ways. You then have your directions, and this is also where if you were cooking something that needed to be cooked to a certain internal temperature, you would provide that information as well. You have your serving size, 2 number 16 scoops, that would be your blue-handled portion-controlled disher, and then the meal pattern contribution. It states right on there, 2 crepes made with that number 16 scoop provide a 1 ounce equivalent grain and a 1/4 cup fruit. Some things to consider when standardizing a recipe. You want to be sure to convert the ingredients into creditable formats. For example, if a recipe that you've brought from home states that it uses 5 tomatoes, how would you credit this? Does it specify the type of tomato? Because 5 cherry tomatoes and 5 beefsteak tomatoes are going to credit very differently. So when you're testing that recipe, process the tomatoes, measure them, and then use that measurement for your recipe. The ingredients in the recipe need to reflect what is actually used in your kitchens. If the recipe you're standardizing calls for corn on the cob, but you're going to be using frozen corn, make sure to make that adjustment in the standardizing process. Another thing to consider is substitutions. Do you have an excessive amount of USDA chicken strips on hand, so you're going to sub them into the recipe in place of diced chicken? Beef crumbles instead of raw beef, salsa for diced tomatoes, one vegetable versus vegetable blends. You want to make sure that you end up with the same crediting in the end that you would have began with, or at least make a note on your production records that it's going to credit towards a meal pattern slightly differently that day. So let's go ahead and take a look at a recipe. Here we've brought in a recipe from home for Mexican corn in a cup. The first thing you're going to want to do is identify what items in the recipe can credit towards the meal pattern. We have corn, which would credit towards your starchy veg. And then we have cotija cheese or Parmesan if you're not going to order specialized cheeses in your kitchen that can credit towards your meat alternate. Now that we've identified the two items in this recipe that can credit towards the meal pattern, we got to figure out how they credit in this recipe. The first place I suggest going to is the USDA's food buying guide. Almost everything that credits towards the meal pattern can be found in here. So we have found our fresh corn in the USDA buying guide, and according to that, it says that 1 medium ear of corn will give you about a half a cup of cooked vegetable. So now we go back and look at our recipe. It states that this recipe calls for 4 ears of corn. So the food buying guide says that 1 medium ear of corn is approximately a half a cup starchy veg. So this recipe will provide you with 4 half-cup servings of starchy vegetable. The second item that we identified on our recipe was the cheese. According to the food buying guide, a 1 ounce serving, or about 3/8 of a cup, will provide you with a 1 ounce meat alternate. Now, if you remember, our recipe had tablespoons listed. So now we're going to look at converting. The food buying guide told us that 3/8 of a cup equals a 1 ounce equivalent of meat alternate. The recipe calls for 8 tablespoons, which in volume is equivalent to a half a cup. So now we take that half a cup, we look at how much we get out of that, and we can determine, based with that information, that this recipe will provide you a total of 1.33 ounce equivalent meat alternate, which gives you 0.33 ounce per serving. But of course, with child nutrition programs, we're never allowed to round up, so we have to round down to 0.25 ounce equivalents of meat alternate in a serving of Mexican corn in a cup. So now we're going to take all of that information and we're going to put it in a standardized recipe format. I have changed the corn on the cob to frozen corn because that is probably what is going to be used in high volume settings. You can see that we have our serving size set for half a cup. This recipe will yield 4 servings. It credits for a half cup starchy veg and a 1/4 of an ounce equivalent meat alternate. I have made the adjustment from cotija cheese to Parmesan cheese because that is more commonly found in school nutrition programs. And we have included all of our instructions on how to prepare this recipe. The great thing now, you have all of this information on your standardized recipe, so when you go to fill out your production record, everything you need is right there. We have our blank production record. We have the title of our recipe, Mexican corn. I've given this the name of Veg 1 for the recipe. We know that our serving size is a half of a cup. And we know that a half a cup serving size will give us a half cup starchy veg and a 1/4 of an ounce equivalent of meat alternate. I hope that you are feeling confident after watching this training and standardizing your own recipes. And of course, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out to the Maine Child Nutrition Office. Thank you for watching this training module, and as always, you can find us online at maine.gov/BOE.